This is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So, we're going to use this book for the third time, I think, to look at maps of the world that explain history, so historical maps. Or maybe learning history through maps. This book is called A History of the World in 500 Maps, and it's by Tamsin Hudson, by Christian Cordelou. And I personally bought it on Amazon, but as someone someone pointed out in a comment, which I was grateful for, I should encourage you to buy it at your local bookshop. But at the time I didn't have a local bookshop and I lived in the middle of nowhere, so that's my excuse. So, we're going to start off with this really nice map, which is people of the Americas before 1500. Something that I've become a little bit more interested in learning about. I've watched a couple of movies and series on the native peoples of America, North America especially, and it's something that I want to learn more about. So it's got, if you can see, all the different groups. So these are the main indigenous people, so the Inuit up here in northern Canada, Aleut over in Alaska, Nootka, Shoshone, Ojibwe, I think that says Ojibwe, Algonquins, Iroquois, Hurons, which I find fascinating because this is Lake Huron, right? Yeah, one of the Great Lakes is Cheyennes, Cherokee, Natchez, Comanches, Navajos, Apaches, Nahuas, the Mayas, Otomi, and the Arawak. And continuing further to South America, we've got continuation of the Arawak here, the Chibcha, Carib, which maybe that was, surely that's how the Caribbean Sea got its name then. It's either going to be Jivaro or Jivaro, the Quechua, Tupi, more Arawak, Tupi, Aymara, Guarani, and Quechua. And right on the tip here, Alakaluf. Let's read this little blurb here. Oh, I didn't actually point these out, so this is the Amazonian, Andean, South Cone, Caribbean, where we've got the Carib, and Intermediate, apparently that's called. And these are Arctic, Subarctic, Northwest Plain, no, Northwest Coast, Plateau, Plains and Prairies, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Great Basin, California. Cool. Although several waves of migration from Asia to the Americas occurred across the Bering Strait, just to explain, this is Russia, modern day Russia, and there's a really small gap, and apparently it was ice at one point, so you could just literally walk across. And transoceanic contacts in the distant past may well have happened, despite lack of evidence. Ancient American cultures are now often seen as constituting a coherent whole. There were constant cultural exchanges as well as underlying anthropological similarities. It is no longer viable to see indigenous American societies as a mosaic of separate, long-lasting cultures. Archaeology shows that broad, integrated cultural blocks existed, multi-ethnic in nature, but bound together by the spread of dominant languages such as Nahuatl in Mesoamerica and Quechua in the Andes. So the way this video is going to work is I'm just going to randomly skip and we'll see where we end up. Does that sound good? Unless I don't like the page. The Eastern Latin states. So this is between 1098 and 1291. We've got the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum at the top here. This, if you don't know, so this is modern day Palestine, Israel, Syria, Lebanon. So this is Cyprus, Famagusta. Oh yeah, it says Cyprus still. The Mediterranean Sea. This is modern day Turkey. And this down here is modern day Egypt. This is the Sinai Peninsula, which at the time was under the Fatimid Caliphate. And then the Kingdom of Jerusalem is here. Jerusalem, Hebron, Gaza, Jafar, Nazareth. This would be modern day Jordan then, I guess. So this is saying that during the Crusades, the height of the Crusades in the Near East, the first Latin state was founded in 1098 on the road to Jerusalem, the county of Edessa, which we'll take a look at is up here. So this would be modern day Turkey still, I think. Where Baldwin of Bologna joined forces with the Armenians. Yes, Armenia was massive at that point in time, to impose a feudal political model. That same year, Bohemond of Taranto took control of Antioch. So Antioch is this one here. I guess this would be Syria, Aleppo, yeah, Syria. The Kingdom of Jerusalem was established in 1099. After the city's capture, it was initially ruled by Godfrey of Bouillon between 1099 and 1100, followed by his brother Baldwin I of Jerusalem. The Count of Tripoli, Bertrand of Toulouse, appealed to the latter for help. Against strong local resistance, the King of Jerusalem soon became the dominant figure in the Latin states, and his kingdom primarily attracted Frank settlers. So people from France. The rise of Moscow between the 14th and 16th centuries. Okay, so the Grand Duchy of Moscow goes around Moscow there. At the coming of Ivan III in 1462 is the darker purple, and the lighter purple territory of the Russian state at the start of the reign of Ivan the Terrible in 1533. This yellow part here was a country called Poland-Lithuania, which you can see has modern-day Kiev, Warsaw of Poland, and curiously not Riga. Oh no, Riga is Latvia, Livonia at the time. Vilnius, that's the capital of modern-day Lithuania. Also, by the looks of it, has parts of modern-day Belarus. And then the Khanate of Crimea, which has the Crimean Peninsula here and parts of southern modern Ukraine. And I think this would be maybe Moldova and some of Romania. And possibly Bulgaria as well. Actually, was Bulgaria down here? No. A little bit of Bulgaria as well, I think. And then the Ottoman Empire down here, which is modern day Turkey and Greece, and lots of others. Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Albania. The Grand Principality of Moscow, 14th to 16th century. Moscow prospered as a result of its collaboration with the Golden Horde from Mongolia. After freeing itself from the Tatar yoke at the Battle of Kulikovo in 1380, Moscow gradually established itself as the leader of the Russian peoples, and then of the Orthodox world, Orthodox Christianity. The union of Lithuania and Poland in 1386 tipped the West towards Catholicism, and in 1453 Constantinople, now it's modern day Istanbul, Constantinople lost its central role. Moscow first expanded eastwards, taking advantage of the slow but steady demographic growth of peasants encroaching on the taiga. Previously the domain of Tatar herdsmen. Ivan IV, between 1533 and 84, known as the Terrible, took over the Khanates of Kazan, 1552, and Astrakhan, 1556, thereby opening up Siberia to the Cossacks. Ivan was the first Muscovite sovereign to proclaim himself Tsar, the new Caesar, head of the Third Rome. Interesting, I didn't realise Tsar was related to the Latin word Caesar. So we can see Astrakhan here. This is modern day Russia. The Khanate or Khanate of Kazan. This is all obviously Russia now. Although I think Kazakhstan comes in around here-ish, off the top of my head. Ooh, the Norman Conquest. I haven't done this since I was like 15 in school. So we've got the County of Flanders, which includes Lille and Boulogne in modern-day France, and Bruges of modern-day Belgium. And then we've got the Duchy of Normandy, Falaise, which has Normandy, obviously, Normandy, but other parts of modern-day France. The Kingdom of France is here. County of Brittany, County of Antrim. And then we've got the island of Great Britain, which at the time was the Kingdom of Scotland, had their own royal family. That was the Anglo-Scottish border at 1087. It's not changed a great deal, but a little bit, I think. This is now part of England, I think. Maybe not. Or maybe, yeah, Northumbria, Newcastle upon Tyne. I think so. And then Wales is here. So it was 1069, it was still an independent nation, was it? Interesting. So the Kingdom of England was the southern part. And it wasn't unified yet. Northumbria was by itself. Let's read this. The first cross-channel empire, 1066. The Normans' victory at Hastings in 1066 bound England to the continent for several centuries, despite their difficulties in subduing Cornwall and the north. A decade later, William's land stretched from the Scottish borders to Maine. He fortified the territory with castles, took control of its administration, and impeded the emergence of any large vassal fiefdoms, such as the marches of Wales and Scotland. By the time of his death in 1087, the Duke King had obtained sufficient power to rival the King of France. Oh wow. Okay. Angkor, the Khmer capital. We're gone to Asia now. This is China, Hainan Island here. Dai Viet, so this is modern day Vietnam. This would be modern day Thailand. And here would be like Cambodia and Laos. So, this is the Khmer Empire, 12th to 13th century. The Khmer Empire revolved around its capital of Angkor. Where's that here? And at its height in the early 13th century, it penetrated most of continental Southeast Asia thanks to two great rivers, the Chao Phraya and the Mekong. See the Mekong running down here. There's the other one. Chao Phraya. The empire began in 1802 of our era when King Jayavarman declared himself the new Chakravartin, the King of Kings. The empire derived its power from its mastery of waters flowing into the Mekong River and Lake Tonle Sap. The development of hydraulic irrigation system and efficient river transport led to substantial crop yields and one of the most dynamic urbanizations to be found in the pre-industrial world in this era. Wow. Today's Ho Chi Minh City, so modern day southern Vietnam, Prey Nocor, was called Khmer at the time. The Khmer Empire took advantage of the long-distance trading routes passing through Southeast Asia. The riches thus acquired enabled Khmer rulers to build extraordinary temples, particularly in Angkor Wat and the Bayon, but also throughout the rest of its territory. The Khmer Empire was eventually weakened by internal power struggles before succumbing to the assaults of its neighbour, the kingdom of Sukhothai. The seat of all would become Siam. And then we're going back to the Americas to see the Aztecs. I had to learn about the Aztecs as part of my degree in Spanish. The Aztecs, 14th to 16th century. The Aztec Empire around 1500, so before the European invasion. Acapulco is down here. Oaxaca is here. Cholula. Teotihuacan. I think this is Tlaxcala. This is modern day Ciudad de Mexico, I think, around here. The Bay of Campeche, and then if you go up here, then the Mayas are here. The European tradition is accustomed to bestow the name Aztec Empire on an area that was culturally and politically focused on a central Mexican power. The designation by Hernán Cortés of Mexica Tlatoani, the highest-ranking religious and military dignitary, as an emperor, reflected an attempt to interpret a society that was deeply strange to European eyes in terms he could understand. The Mexicatl lands were in fact ruled by a triple alliance involving the capital, Mexico Tenochtitlan. Oh, there. And its two satellites, Texcoco and Tlocapan. The nature of this control varied from one region to the next, ranging from total dependence to unimpeded autonomy. Whether submission was obtained by force or through a negotiated protectorate, the end result was the same. The victor, Mexico, exercised political, military and economic control over a conquered entity, which demonstrated its allegiance by paying a tribute, tequitli. No, tequitl. I think there's an L or an I. Tequitl. Mexico, in its turn, imported the cult of the vanquished gods and granted them a place in its ceremonial enclosure. The one crucial requirement of the central power was absolute freedom of movement for its traders, and any contravention of this sacrosanct principle was considered a declaration of war and prompted a military intervention by the Triple Alliance. The map shows various enclaves, of which the most famous is the independent principality of Tlaxcala. This city was linked to Mexico by a pact of ritualized hostility known as the Flower War. This highly institutionalized aggression had a religious element, as conflicts had to be organized regularly to produce the captives required for the ceremonial immolations essential to the smooth running of the theological political system. There's Mexico City, which is built on a swamp and is sinking. That's what I was told. Okay, time for one more maybe. It's a big one though. So this is the Mughals and the Safavids. So this is modern day Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan a little bit, India and Bangladesh. So we can see the Ottoman Empire here, including its grasp over Armenia. And then there's this link between them and the Safavid Empire of what we would consider Persia, modern day Iran, which has here Azerbaijan and parts of Iraq. Baghdad, for example, is here. Shiraz, part of modern day Iran. Astrabad. I think this is modern day Turkmenistan. And then here the Uzbeks of Uzbekistan, Kazakh of Kazakhstan, Bukhara, which is Uzbekistan now, and surely around here somewhere is the Tajikistan. And then we've got Pakistan, Kashmir, Gujarat, the Mughal Empire here, going down to the south, but not into Tamil country or onto the island of Ceylon in modern day Sri Lanka. Two Muslim empires from Mesopotamia to the Gulf of Bengal, 16th to 18th century. Two Muslim dynasties held sway in the 16th century, the Safavids in Persia and the Mughals in northern India. The Safavids emerged from the Safaviya, a Sufi order that converted to Shi'ism. In 1501 they took control of first Tabriz and then the rest of Persia. The Uzbeks drove the Persians out of Central Asia. Up here. In 1512 and obliged Persia's ally, Babur, to head towards northern India. By the time of his death, his kingdom stretched from Kabul, which modern day, where's Tabriz? Pamir. Maybe like here-ish, which is Afghanistan. To Bihar. Bihar, would that be over here? Yeah, Bihar. Near the Himalayas. The Safavids were continually in conflict with the Uzbeks, but their main threat came from the Ottoman Empire, modern-day Turkey, and parts of Egypt, for example, which attacked whenever its European front was less active. Shah Abbas I, between 1588 and 1629, reconquered some of the territories lost to the West and his reign is considered a Persian golden age. Similarly, in India, the reigns of Shah Jahan, 1627 to 58, and Aurangzeb, 1658 to 1707, marked the peak of the Mughal Empire, which was heavily influenced by Persian culture. In 1736, Nadir Shah replaced the Safavid dynasty in Iran with the Afsharids and went on to crush the Mughal army at the Battle of Karnal in 1739. Modern day Hindi has a lot of words from Persian in it. That makes sense to me. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favour and click that like button. Click subscribe if you are here for the first time and you enjoyed this video. Clearly you did because you're here at the end, right? And don't forget about my Patreon. Leave a comment, obviously. My Patreon, it's worth joining. All of the tiers have the same perks. So if you want to join the lowest tier, then that's absolutely fine. You get all the perks. And those perks are 2 extra videos, 1 map video and 1 little ramble video a month. And every single video that I release on this channel is seen by you nearly a week early. And sometimes I'm naughty, and if you just follow me for free, then you sometimes get an early video. I sometimes give you a little sneak peek, so it's worth joining up to Patreon, even if you do it for free to begin with, and just have a little look at how often I produce videos. And the last thing that you get is an opportunity to chat directly to me as well, because there's like a message function, and I've been having nice chats with my patrons this week. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Take care. Hope you sleep well. See you next time. Bye bye.